way you turned it on. We never let it play in, you know?
There it goes.
I want to go back to Japan this year.
You think that's gonna happen?
Yeah. I think maybe the second half, or, you know, I don't think it's going to be like...
That's a nice tie-in to today's topic. A post-COVID world.
Post-COVID.
What does that look like?
Post-COVID Malone.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's the thaw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's usually this time of year is like, you know, in the Northeast anyways, it's when people are like kind of getting out of their hibernation, like starting to see people
it's
more.
like that anyways in the Northeast, right?
Yeah.
But now with COVID, it's like, fuck.
Right. It's like amplified.
Yeah.
Like you see somebody like, dude, I haven't seen anybody in 4 months. Then they just like unload all this shit on you.
Shit is going to go ham hard as a motherfucker this spring,
dude.
This summer.
People better be careful on the roads. I'm saying people are going to be going nuts, like drinking and driving and shit.
It's interesting, man. It's, you know, it feels like it's, you know, it's funny. A year ago, it's really been a year.
Yeah.
It's almost around this time last year that everything shut down.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it feels like at first it was like, you know, it's 2 to 3 weeks.
Sure.
Then it was, well, until April, May.
1 to 3 months.
Then it was, oh, we just got to get through the summer. And then, dude, it's a year.
Yeah.
A fucking year.
Well, and there's a good chance that they might have even known that, you know, that if we're talking about the highest level experts in the country, you know. But if you're selling that to a nation, you'd probably be better off, you know, trickling information in or because people wouldn't react well to that. You know, there would be this huge, like,
I don't think they knew it, though.
It.
I don't think they knew it because look at the complete mishandling of it all.
Yeah. But I just don't know how they couldn't have learned from, you know, what had already transpired, you know, in China already.
I think there was a lot of poor communication from China to
their
us
government.
About what was happening.
Yeah, and their government lies about certain things.
Yeah, and we saw SARS happen.
Yeah.
And we kind of laughed it off like, it was nothing. Didn't come here, right?
Yeah.
And then so
we thought it was just like powder in envelopes, and that's actually not even what it is. Like some people, if you ask them, they'd be, oh yeah, that was the powder in the envelopes, right?
Isn't that's like anthrax, right? It's like totally not even remotely.
But if you ask some townie from Boston, they'd be like, SARS, weren't they sending that to people in envelopes?
Yeah, dude, and we just kind of laughed it off. We were like, it's not gonna come here. It's not gonna like shut things down.
Yeah, not us.
Yeah. And then the first thing where I was like, whoa, is when they canceled the NBA. That was like, okay, something's
got your attention.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone on that. You know, there's you know how I tell you my friend group, they're all sports.
Yep.
Not all the time, but
yep.
You know, as much as you might expect. And yeah, I remember it's funny watching the Instagram chat over the months, kind of the way it changes. You know, people hard on each other, people bullshit each other, to serious to not serious to just memes. You know, it's a good. I will say this though, with all the negativity that is so easy to push into social media has been sort of exactly that,
like therapeutic
social media, so that people
can still connect
from a distance, you know, from their houses. And even if it's that one little thing, you know, that somebody might say to you, or
I mean, I agree with that a little bit. I think there's a lot of bad things about social media, but I think seeing other people going through the same thing that you are is, and then even making light of some things helps a little bit. But yeah, man, I remember, do you remember the moment where you were like, oh, fuck? So the moment for me, I mentioned the NBA thing, but I remember being in a meeting on this huge conference call with like some of the, you know, VIP level people, VP level in my company, and we were on another meeting. We were talking over a conference call with another big company.
Yeah.
And so it was a big meeting. That's all I can say. It was a big meeting.
Sure.
We were in this glass conference room, and all of a sudden we hear like a stampede.
Yeah.
I was going to say rampage, but stampede. A stampede of people,
office workers,
walking by, and we couldn't concentrate because of this meeting.
Yeah.
And so someone opened the door. It's like, hey, can you guys like keep it down? And someone's like a little whispering through, and then someone comes in. They go. They're evacuating the building.
Sure.
Because somebody's spouse had COVID, and it felt like it was the end of the world.
Like people were fucking
everyone
running
left.
Out of there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they were briskly walking. I should
like
say
a Die Hard movie or something.
Yeah. Bro, did you just take a cigarette out? Like you're gonna smoke it?
No, I didn't. I'm not gonna smoke it in here.
Okay.
Sometimes I got busy hands.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll like to put something in, maybe get a little taste of the nicotine.
I got busy hands too. I'll show you these.
I saw that bitch ass post you put up.
I'll show you how
about how you had some fucking
the wingspan.
Wingspan, you serious?
Bro, my wingspan.
If you don't even have any hands at the end of those bird wings, because think about a bird's wing. How does it look?
Folks, he's clearly threatened by my 75-inch wingspan.
Yeah, right, dude. I'm pretty sure mine's like 72. So
yeah.
I got long. I can't move my arms right now.
Dude, I have long arms. Long, like scraping my knuckles on the ground. Long.
I don't think so.
But anyways, back to COVID.
Sorry.
So now that we're like a year into this thing, and it feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
What do you think the world's going to look like?
Well, I don't think there's one definitive answer. I think what I think it's going to look like is, we'll open it up in this limited capacity and hope that there isn't another outbreak, right? Even with the vaccine, because there's got to be that possibility that, the thing is still an issue to some extent.
It feels like there's a swelling movement of Americans that wouldn't even care if there was. Because they've had it. They've had it for a year.
Yeah.
Like, look at Texas. Mm-hmm. There was a mask burning get together in like
so good
South Dakota or like one of those northern.
It's burn it up.
Yeah, it might have been Idaho, and there was like little kids with like masks, and they're saying to the fire, "You hungry? Here's some more masks."
Yeah.
Like literally a 6-year-old kid being like, "You hungry?"
Instead of anti-vaxxers, they're anti-maskers.
It's crazy.
Maybe they're both too. They're not
Probably
taking the vax either.
You know what's very interesting is my brother told me that. So he is a teacher in a Boston public school, and the school is in Roxbury.
Yeah.
He said that at I think it's a Walgreens or CVS, you can just go in and get a shot because inner city people are not getting shots.
Okay.
They're not getting vaccinated.
There's that many that you can just go in and get it.
There's that many that are not taking it.
Yeah.
That they've got. So you could go up and be like, yeah, and they're like, come on in. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They just don't have. I think that inner city, maybe like lower end of the economy. What am I talking about?
Social status.
The social stat. Like they don't trust the government anyways.
Sure.
So they're not getting a vaccine.
Well, there's specifically in that area, and I'm not going to speak for all black people, but I know that they commonly have a distrust for the government.
Right.
And I believe that's totally valid, honestly.
True.
Because of history being
why should they trust the government?
Yeah, exactly. So like when you're that instance right there, that's probably the biggest amount of trust you can give something, right? Because you're letting somebody insert a needle into your body and inject your body with something.
Yeah.
So I think we do make light of it. We just talk about, it's just put it in your arm. It's just, but for some people, that's like maybe it's a psychological thing for them. Maybe they don't have a trust for the government, and then it crosses over into that. And I can't really honestly fault people, because I do think there are a lot of weird things going on in the world, and it would be hard for me to just trust a certain amount of things, you know?
Yeah, I have a problem trusting anybody. Like anything I hear now, I'm just okay, what's the other side? What are they not telling me? Which is kind of a dangerous point of view to have, because now I'm not trusting things that I should.
Right. And like you wonder if maybe it was like not, I don't want to say a deliberate attack, but in a way an attack on our social being, like that we, because it's weird, because it's so multi-leveled and it's so complex of an issue to talk about. But
never let a crisis go to waste.
Is that what they say?
Have you ever heard that?
The lessons learned from it, is that the implication?
No, the idea is that if there's a crisis going on, take advantage of it.
Oh.
So I think that's what happened, honestly.
Yeah.
I think there's real science. There's a coronavirus, but I think certain politicians took advantage of it, and it became political. It became, if you were in a blue state, a Biden state, then you were all for shutting things down. If you were in a red state, you were all for keeping things open.
Yeah.
And it became a battle. And then those same governors and mayors of these blue towns said, you need to stay home. And then they were caught out without a mask in a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude. You know? But then next day they're on social media pointing their fingers like, stay at home, wear a mask, be responsible. Doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, we're not that stupid, right?
I know.
Like I guess there are some people that are that stupid.
Oh, there are.
And I don't even want, I don't want to make fun of them. People are the way that they are. But
does it feel a little convenient now that we got a new president and things are opening? That I'm not saying that that's my point of view, but that is a point of view that's out there. That's a point of view
out there. I don't know that I would call it convenient. I think that as far as for some reason, the implication that they would be making is that they withheld the vaccines until after the president came into office.
Yeah, I
think that would be very hard to pull
either
off.
That or they bumped up the numbers. So the numbers were never as bad as they were reported to be.
Well,
I think it would be.
In this day and age, I think it would be very hard to pull off.
I do too, and I want to preface that I have looked into the data, and the death rate this year is higher. And so if you're saying that like
this year than last year
in previous years, yes.
Oh,
okay. So there's no way that it didn't have an effect on deaths.
Yeah,
because you could say, well, those people died, but they were going to die anyways. But no. This is like above. They've reported
people
more
disagree
deaths.
with this, right?
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with facts, though.
They still do, though, don't they?
Well, I don't think.
Oh, not much is different.
I don't think they have the right facts. Which goes back to not trusting anything that the media says.
All right.
Which is part of my fault as well.
I remember I was at maybe a Thanksgiving. I don't know. It was a big family get together like before this, while Trump was in office or whatever. And my uncle or aunt's friend, he was so when I told him like I don't even want to vote because I don't believe in the system.
Yep.
He was like, he got so animated. He got so into it. And he's like, don't you understand? This is a deliberate attack. This is a coordinated attack to make you react that way.
By who?
By the forces that be. Trump wanted to attack your belief and make you question everything. When there's somebody in that amount of power that's calling into question your society as a whole, whether that's, I mean, look what it did. It just divided so many people.
The problem is, though, we're still divided. It may seem like we're not right now, that it's getting better.
Yeah.
But it's not. I think we happen to live in a very liberal state, so there's, less. It's less like in your face.
Yeah.
But around the country, I think we are still as divided. I mean, the mask shaming, the mask burning thing that I was telling you about, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well.
And this is what's happening out there.
Yeah. I don't disagree at all. I think.
How do we fix it though?
Well, honestly, man, I think people that have a good head on their shoulders, my advice, if as small as it would be, is to be the best version of yourself. And when you do that, that incorporates dealing with other people. So I
that's
always
not a but I agree with you, but that's not a mass solution for division.
No. But there is no mass solution.
The only thing that I can think of is a fair and balanced media. And I think that we gotta look at how divided it's been. And even actors and actresses and the people that are most vocal are very leaning to one side. And there's the mass number of people who may not agree with them and they don't have a voice. It just feels very off balance.
Yeah, I mean, and what? Then you get into the problem of, they're messing with our freedom, right? Our freedom of speech. We can't have this news channel so you're censoring us. You're censoring media. That's the fucking crux in our society, I think, because what we're built on is the same thing that kills us. Because this is a one-way climb up this mountain of what do we call capitalism? There isn't it's not like a chart of stocks. Capitalism just goes up, up, up.
I don't think capitalism is the problem.
Really?
No.
The
I think it's
disparity of wealth. You don't think that has anything to do with it?
You may be onto something there. A little bit, but our system should protect that in some way, and it hasn't.
Right.
And both sides. I mean, this is. It's not a Republican thing. This is the wealthy are always taken care of, and
no doubt.
And during COVID, the wealthy got wealthier. Believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Which is insane,
dude. I mean, if you were to bring this to any court of law or something, and you had one defendant, and one somebody trying to sue them, it would be like just facts after facts of things that should be illegal.
The judge is getting greased on the sides.
He's pulling his case out. It's just waiting for him, the case of money.
Yeah, they're just.
I don't see any problem here.
Yeah.
Dismissed.
All right.
Son of a bitch.
Insane.
Corrupt, man. But this summer, though, summer is no matter what's going on with that. This summer is going to be sick.
Yeah.
Because you can go out of your house.
Do you know what,
go to the beach or something?
Even last summer, it felt a little normal.
Yeah.
Somewhat normal.
Yeah.
Because you could get outside.
Weren't in a jail cell.
It felt like people didn't think it felt like they saw the end of the COVID in sight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like September, October hit and everyone went back in their
yeah, recoiled.
Back in their shell.
Everybody's nails are super long. Their sweatpants smell terrible.
Just not washing their clothes.
Just cans of beans on the side of their room. Somebody's like, how long has this can of beans been? What are you doing in my house? Just start spraying them with the fucking, get out, disinfectant.
Fuck.
Yeah.
People just not shaving.
Yeah.
Like
full-ass beard.
Full-ass
beard. And then your skin gets super irritated because it's so dry.
This sounds like a personal story.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, it is. I have to get rid of my beard because of how terrible it is for my skin. Mm-hmm. Just that itchy, like, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
And the skin gets super dry. It's just not a good situation.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the mustache look.
I like the mustache. I'm still thinking about becoming a plumber.
Yeah. Yeah. You look like it. You look like one right now.
Hey, do you want me to fix your sink?
Oh, we can't get back
What's the problem here?
No more of these voices.
Whoa, why not?
Do you realize you interviewed your brother the whole time and you didn't break back into last week?
Last week? Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Dude, fuck off.
No, that was Mel, right? Wasn't it Mel?
I don't know his name.
He stepped into my room when I went to the bathroom. Yeah.
Anyway, so COVID, 1 year anniversary. Fuck.
Yay. I think
this summer's going to be lit, man.
Last March, was it 12th or 17th? It was a St. Patty's Day.
It was like the 12th or something.
I had a gig at Lucky's in South Boston. And it was like the day before. Everybody was like, yeah, no. Mm-hmm. Like literally the night before.
So that was your moment.
That was my moment. And like I can remember people walking up to me like, play Zombie by the Cranberries. And I was like, I would. I don't know it though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're like, it doesn't matter. We bet you can do it.
Zombie.
Have you seen?
It's a jam, by the way.
What's her name? Yeah, it is. Have you seen? What's her name? Miley Cyrus do that one?
No.
Oh my god.
Good.
So good, dude. I'll probably catch some flack for that, but
why not?
Yeah, why not catch some flack?
But why?
What would they say? Oh, it's Miley Cyrus. She's horseshit.
We talked about this already. Her voice is unique and should be celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a pain in the ass, but
yeah. Well, that's what people see.
Yeah.
They get used to, well, you know, what they had. And
yeah. So coming out of COVID, what do you think? Like, what are some of the changes that you think will happen and what will stick? And when I say what will stick, like, so for me, working at home, I think everyone who works in corporate realized that there really isn't a need to commute into a building, that we can all be interconnected through our computers, through Skype. I mean, it's not like Skype was a new thing, but right. I wasn't comfortable with it. I never used it in my job.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden,
you just had to get used to it.
It becomes a way of life, and
more convenient.
Yeah, and now we have this building downtown, 4 floors. Mm-hmm. Probably 75% of the people don't need to be there to touch any of the product, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It just made me think of something.
What?
That I hadn't considered at all throughout any of this. If the things do change like that, and all of a sudden we don't need half the amount of office space, how is that going to change the actual structure of cities?
That's exactly what my point was. It's insane. Think about all the restaurants that are downtown right now.
Wow. Yeah.
That relied on people to come. I mean, they're already closing anyways.
Oh yeah.
But when people come back, it's not going to like.
Yeah, it's not going to be like this
anyways. Yeah, and it's not. Well, it's not even going to be
not
this.
That that's funny. I'm sorry if anybody was affected by it.
They're closed, but the structure of the cities and who lives down there. Do you need to live down there? Mm-hmm. There was very
interesting. Maybe it will bring more living, more actual apartments into the city.
You think it'll bring more or less?
Maybe more. Yeah,
I don't think
more
so.
people living in the city. You don't think?
No. Why?
Because they couldn't drop the prices enough to make it alluring. But maybe that could be something that happens.
But why would you need to be downtown if your work doesn't? If you don't need to show up to work?
Well, because some people like to live in the city.
True. There's that.
The large amount of people like.
But they're paying a lot to be there.
Sure. But do you think this would be an end game? That's something. Of course, it would take the span of many years, but the restructuring of anything takes time, right?
Yep.
But I'm just saying, imagine it does drop the price of living in the city, but it's way more readily available. So that would be super interesting, in my opinion, if it was just way less things to do with business and maybe more small businesses, and sort of like an atmosphere like a New York, you know, where every corner's bustling, or like, you know, you have your own like.
But a lot of cities are
neighborhood economy kind of deal.
True, but a lot of cities are built around people working there as well.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're not working there, are they going to be downtown just to? I think people do like living in the city, but I think there's also was the convenience factor of it.
Yeah.
And I think now people have gotten outside. They're enjoying nature a little bit more when they can. They're going for hikes.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to hit the trails.
Maybe
they move out a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And maybe we won't see this like. You know, it'll be much more spread out.
Sure.
Where people live. I think that's maybe a long-term effect of COVID.
I know that it's happening in Japan. I know people are leaving the city in, you know, sort of large numbers, and going back to their families, like countryside farms, or what do they call them, like farmhouses? It basically would be the Japanese equivalent of like a, you know, rural area.
Yeah.
And just since people are working from home, and there's, like you say, no reason to be paying that money because rent didn't drop, right? Rent stayed the same.
Yep.
We went through a whole fucking pandemic, and there was no forgiveness on any rent. You know, that still stayed where it was.
Well, so there's contracts in place with a lot of companies and buildings, and even people when they sign a year, you know, it's a contract.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when those contracts start ending, what's going to happen to the economy?
Oh.
There's a lot of money tied up in that.
Yeah, for sure. People are going to have to drop their prices, I think. The renters and, you know, leasers, whatever it is.
Yeah, but then they can't pay the money they may owe on that house.
That's what's going to happen.
And it's going to be dude, I'm telling you.
They're not going to be able to take as big of a win as they wanted to take initially. Their business plan's going to have to be reevaluated.
I kind of think we've been talking about the stock market, you and I and your brother.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we're in a bubble somehow because the economy has recovered. But
okay, just so I can have context of what you mean. Do you mean in a bubble throughout the entire market as a whole, like everything?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I feel like, for example, Delta, you know, their stock plummeted back in March of last year because no one was traveling.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, people start to open up and say, okay, I can see how a year from now, I'm going to buy it now because a year from now it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And the price goes up and it goes up. And now it's at a point where it almost was a year ago.
Okay.
But I don't see.
At the high last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is it that high when people aren't traveling yet? They're maybe weary about traveling when they can travel. Their middle seats they're like taking out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem. It feels like there's a lot of that happening.
There's inflation going on for sure.
Well, also, and this goes back to cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Is we keep printing money. Do you know that we've printed more money in the last year than we have ever in the entire history of printing money?
Do they actually print it though?
It's just it's not like when we say printing, it's a computer click.
They just make it up.
It's a computer click.
Yeah.
You create money.
They just make it up, bro.
Yeah, and it's insane.
It's not backed by anything.
Yeah, I know.
So
there's no gold.
So yeah, like that's the like inflation is real.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. But now that money's out there, it's in the economy, be it where it may be, everybody's getting richer. Everybody's getting more money in their pockets.
It's going to be a disaster eventually. I don't see how.
Well, I don't have the answer for that. I wouldn't even. I'm not an economist in any way.
I'm not either, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people a lot smarter than me that would know. But it's a supply and demand, right?
Sure.
If the supply is really high, the demand is low. if the demand is really high, the supply is usually low. That's how it works. There's a lot of supply of money because we keep printing it. So the dollar is going to continue to decrease.
Yeah.
And that's why
seeking alternative investments.
And that's why Bitcoin
one
becoming more and more of
reasons.
a believer.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think we had to do something now. I mean, people are unemployment's running out.
Yeah.
And
they just
people are hurting.
reinstated it, by the way. I think
What?
another 25 weeks.
No, I know, because of the $1.3 trillion plan, which is essentially printing money.
Right.
So that's why today, or was it yesterday, I put more money in Bitcoin. I'm like, fuck it. And it's already up.
Yeah, it's been doing this weird thing this week where it's like it's not necessarily lateral movement because there's kind of somewhat 5%, 3% movements on the day. People are making a lot of money in between those 3 and 5% dips. And that's what you don't consider is that even the day traders are fucking making bank every day off of this. And not all of them, of course. There's a lot of people that lose. But more to the point, I wanted to say, it's funny because like with diversifying our value or our currencies, whatever it is, our stake in life, diversifying is so important. And I think a business owner would tell you that. Anybody that lives in that world. Now that I'm in a way like starting to sell things and buy things and having to look at price and costs. I start to realize how much diversification is important because if you have all it's the most common saying, if you have all your eggs in one basket, and that fucking basket gets stepped on by a golem, then all your fucking yolks running down the yard
you can have a bunch of
into the sewers.
You need to have a bunch of different hustles. By the way, I read up on a crazy hustle that I wanted to talk to you about. The people are buying. So do you know how Alibaba is like the Amazon of China? People are going on there and finding like some kind of weird deals, like a therapy gun. You know those guns where you just like put on your skin and it just
money.
Yeah. You can buy them on Alibaba for like $25.
What?
Yeah,
25?
Something like that. So
I'm gonna buy one.
So you buy them in bulk, and then you sell them
resell
in the U.S. for a little bit higher.
Yeah, 45
Isn't that crazy?
Bucks. I'm gonna get some and sell them on Mercari. Disclaimer.
What's Mercari?
Mercari.
Oh, Mercari.
Yeah.
Is that like a?
It's just like a selling app.
It's like an eBay
buying
type.
And selling app. Yeah, like an eBay market. That's where I do most of my.
There's money to be made out there if you're willing and. Just what's funny? It's like all these kids are, their attention. They're thinking about what they like. So sneakers, right? So an 18-year-old kid is like, man, I'm gonna wait online and I'm gonna buy a $200 pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
And sell it for $300.
Yeah.
So make $100, but then I got to pay 15% to StockX. Yeah. So then that extra $100 I make is really only $75.
Right.
And then I got to ship it, and then I got to go to my mom. I got to go to my mom and ask her to take me to FedEx, and it's a lot of work for
what am I making per hour?
A lot of work for $75. What if you took $75 and just invested it somewhere?
Yeah.
Put it in Bitcoin.
Well, it's I think the answer to that question is it's a money economy in that world where they don't know how to day trade a crypto.
No, I know.
It's so much easier to do what you know, right?
Yeah. No, it's also I also think it's a healthy experience for a kid doing that because they understand.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
it definitely builds some good foundational skills in dealing with money.
Entrepreneurial,
selling, because when I'm selling cards, I'm a salesperson. When I put up my posts, I sell. I highlight the good aspects of what I'm selling. I detail what's in it. I detail how the shipment will be handled, that they can always reach out to me. I'm glad to make anything right. There's ways that you wouldn't believe how, and you probably agree with this, like learning to be a salesperson is like this super. It's like a skill that's like kind of.
And the funniest thing is the skill is being transparent and honest.
Yeah.
Which most people think salesmen are like sleazy scumbags, but
right.
the good ones are honest and do what they're going to say they're going to do, and will take care of an issue for you. I mean, there's a little bit of hustle in there too, a little bit of like convincing, but the best ones are, it's both sides making a good trade.
For sure, man. And what's more valuable than that? And I've been learning so much about value and what that means from 3 different sides, So you learn from yourself too.
Yeah.
So ultimately that's what it is. You're the intermediary bringing that person value, and you want them to feel like their money's well spent and it's secure with your product or whatever. So I don't know. I think learning to sell, and maybe even if you haven't used Mercari, you should use it. They're not. I wish they were paying us for advertisement.
This kind of goes into what we were just talking about what's changed because of COVID, and I think in general, just the digital world.
Yeah.
Not only in the way we work, but the way we consume. So all these new sites are popping up, like I don't know how long Mercari's been around, but like there's more and more of that. And there's less brick and mortar. There's less stores, which is kind of sad.
It is. It definitely is.
But if you didn't if you're an owner of a store and you didn't foresee this, what it did is it sped things up like 5 years.
Yeah.
5 to 10
years.
years.
They had all the warning signs.
And if they didn't adapt earlier, like if you were a shoe store and you didn't have an online,
be making those orders like
and if you didn't have
filling orders.
if you didn't have a .com that sold and you weren't, consumers now are different. Like they expect an experience and a story when they buy something.
Yeah,
it's not just a physical product. So if you're not providing a story for the product that you sell, whether it's a little bit of marketing, a little, it's not just an item anymore, is my point. And I think younger people expect, all right, what about the item? Why the item?
Yeah.
How does it make me feel?
Right. It's like when you're buying like a CD, when you look at the cover,
Oh man, I miss that. I miss the.
I still love looking at cover art though.
Me too.
Like even on Rhapsody.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't change having Spotify on my phone for anything.
Or Napster, mind you.
Yeah.
Napster. I have Napster.
Yeah. Well, it's like a streaming thing.
I still have it.
Yeah. I love that. I wouldn't give that up for anything. But there is that. I miss that, like the touch and feel, which is why I started getting back into, not get back into it, but I bought a record player and I bought like my 3 favorite records. And one day it was during COVID. I sat there, I put it on the record player, and had a glass of whiskey and read the artwork. I looked at the pictures, dude. Yeah. Come on, that's the best thing.
They just bring you back.
Yeah.
And there's some good things to come out of this pandemic, I think, because people are reconnecting with
nostalgia.
What they used to love, and we were caught in this hustle and bustle society where it was go, 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 go. And I think we all needed some time to sit down and work on ourselves.
I think we could have a whole podcast on the collectibles thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think that you just hit a point. The nostalgia and how it made. We had to be by ourselves and reflect on, our lives and what we love. Like if we're not hustling and bustling, like you said, and we're sitting at home, you start to think about like, what I did as a kid and. Some of this started with like there was a Michael Jordan documentary that came on, which I advise everybody to watch, even if they're The Last Dance.
That was excellent.
And I think that really ignited a lot of nostalgia for trading cards, for sneakers, for
the sounds,
jerseys,
right? The old shots, the way people were dressed in the audience, the look of the sneakers, how high the shorts were,
and
the haircuts, it all kind of teleports you back, right? I had this thought the other day at the house when I'm like, am I being kind of ridiculous with these cards? You know, as much as I've gotten into it, like, am I being a little bit too much? And I thought back and I had this fond memory of, you know, you're a little kid, right?
Yep.
It's kind of amazing. The mind of a child is amazing, I think. And let's say let's say you're my dad and you brought me to get a pack of cards.
Mm-hmm.
Me going into that store, giving the guy the $4, one pack, mind you. That's all I could afford.
Yep.
And going back out, you have that pack in your hand, and you're fucking whole time you're heading home, you're looking at the front of the pack.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wonder if
that feeling,
there could be a Charizard in here.
Yeah, and that feeling about the anticipation of the pack is probably better than what's inside it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then, if you did get that, what is it, Charizard, is that what you said?
Yeah, but there's plenty of good ones
right.
you could get.
But if you got that good one, you'd be like...
You go nuts.
You'd go nuts. And that feeling, and you'd be chasing that feeling.
Yeah, and I didn't get to the point very quickly, but what I was meaning to say is it's kind of amazing that when I think back to my young 10-year-old or 11-year-old me, that I was sitting in my room, you know, almost not worshiping these cards, but just looking at them like they're a spectacle and being so as precise as I could as a little kid, you know, putting them in the binder and kind of displaying it. And I used to draw the cover art on my binders. So I would draw a Pokemon and put them on the front and the back cover. And it was like, it's odd for me to think about that because I'm like the kind of person I am. When I look back at that, I'm like, I was totally different, you know? Why was I totally different? You know, have I latched on to some things that I shouldn't have, or it just leads you to...
Do you know what? You were young.
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's nothing wrong with wanting to go back and then experience and try to chase that feeling of being young, because being young is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Not having a care in the world, not there's no stress of a job and, you know, of paying your bills.
Your stress is like your parents yelling at you.
Yeah.
Not being able to hang out with your friend on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not having a dinner that you really loved.
Just like bullshit things. Like dying on the 8th level of Mario World and being like, what the fuck?
You're missing one of your socks. Damn it.
Yeah.
How long have we been going?
We got about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want I was going to suggest like for next week so that people might and if you're listening, if you're still listening at this point, thank you very much, folks. We're going to try some different ways to get this show out there, and we want to give it a little jump start. So do us a favor. If you like the content, make sure you share it with somebody you know, or share it on your social medias. It will go a long way, and we would really appreciate it if you did it. That's a way that you can show us that you like the show and that you want us to keep it going. Do a little of that for us if you enjoy the content, because we don't get paid. We just want you to get value out of it and like it, and that would be a way that we would know that you want us to keep doing it. So, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Next week, maybe we can talk about going to Florida.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In a few weeks, we're going to Florida.
I was about to send you guys an article that I saw about like how it's like in the middle of spring. I didn't even realize it's like in the middle of spring break, and kids are just going crazy down there.
Shit.
So we are walking right into that.
Jesus. Yeah. Well,
as 30-year-old men.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. I don't give a shit.
I don't either. But I just hope I don't. I hope I don't
go fuck themselves.
I hope I don't catch the second strain. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, the mutation.
We all come back with
COVID
the mutation.
2.
COVID 2.0.
Bom, bom, bom.
I don't know why I thought of this, and we'll end soon. But
yeah,
one of like the thing that made me the most aggravated about Joe Biden in his campaign was there was one Instagram ad that came up all the time.
Yeah.
And it was Joe Biden like in slow motion putting a mask on his face like he was a superhero. Like, dude, I wear a mask. And it was like this, very slow motion, like, and it was supposed to be like, oh, he's a superhero.
Monumental.
Like, fuck dude, off, dude.
Funny.
Fuck
it's
off.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious the way that media is.
But anyways, all right.
Should we end with a song?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I don't know which song I should do.
Do a little reggae tune. How about a little Sublime cover or something?
Sublime?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I am.
Okay. We can do Sublime.
Put your mic down a little bit. Put your mic down a little bit.
Put your mic down here.
Yeah.
We took this trip to Garden Grove. Smell like a blue dog inside the van. Oh yeah. This ain't no funky reggae party. $5 at the door. It gets so real sometimes. Who wrote my rhyme? I got the microwave. Got the VCR. I've got the juice in the trunk of my car. Oh yeah, well if you only knew all the love that I found. Pull over, there's a reason why my soul's unsound. It's you, it's that shit stuck under my shoe, getting hassled by the man. It's my bedsheet covered in sand, sitting through a shitty bed, getting dog shit on my hand, getting hassled by the man. Waking up to an alarm, sticking needles in your arm, picking up trash on the freeway, feeling depressed every day, leaving without making a sound. Pick my dog up by the pound, living in a tweaker pad, getting yelled at by my dad, saying I'm happy when I'm not, finding roaches in a pot. Oh, all these things I do, they're waiting for never, never, one, 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 never, never, one. People always come up and they want to tell me smoking crack cocaine better than sincere. Dropping that shit till they're sick of it. Drinking every weekend and we just can't take it. Oh Lord, we don't want no plastic. Lord, we don't want no plastic. Oh, so I said now, April 26, 1992, there was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? You were sitting on watching your TV while I was participating in some anarchy. Yeah, when make that music. Yeah, man. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening.
That was a little medley, huh?
Little medley.
Sorry for my singing. I just couldn't help it.
Oh, dude, it sounded great. Thanks for listening to the GlueCast, post-COVID world. Share this with a friend. Send us a message on Instagram. Follow the GlueCast on Instagram for updates.
And Twitter.
God bless you, Bradley.
Cheer. Cheer.
Yo.
Yeah.
You crazy for this one.
You crazy for this one, Hove.